Please understand that this video is my opinion. Share your own opinions down in the comments after watching this whole video. And with that, let's get started. Everywhere you look, free games are trying to sell you something. Usually outfits, the game's currency, or skins. Literally. If the game does it right, making those items look so cool or pretty that you have this desperate desire that you just have to have it. Even if you had never purchased anything with real-world currency in video games, I can basically guarantee if you have spent hundreds of hours in any free game, at some point, you had considered it. To try to make purchasing in a game more worth it, games would lock features behind a paywall, even if it will come back later so you can purchase it with in-game currency. Even if you didn't give in to impulse purchasing, it doesn't help when you see that some of your friends did. Now you feel FOMO. Fear of missing out. Or a person just feels like, I've already spent so much time in this, so I might as well support those that made it, which is a kind way of approaching it. So for any of those reasons, would making a purchase in a video game be a waste of money? According to a poll I made, most of you say that it depends on how much and how often, which I do agree with, so you would think it's the right answer. In another poll I made, I asked if you regret making purchases in video games, and most of you have different levels of regret. So even justifying doing little purchases here and there can still make it not worth it. Unlike the real world, you can't get a refund for those. So again, the question is, would making a purchase in a video game be a waste of money? There isn't one perfect answer, but if you want just one, then I'll just say, of course it is! How dare you waste your time and money in front of a screen where you could be out in the sun planting flowers? Now for the long answer. I'm gonna have different categories of answers due to different levels of life. Ages 4 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 18, and 19 forward. If you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 years old, you probably have more time than all the other categories. You probably have your parents' money, and your parents probably put their credit card number in the device and let it be saved. So all you have to do is press the purchase button. Though it's easy, it's not your money to spend, so that's not responsible. And without communication to your parents, you could find yourself getting into trouble. I've seen it happen. When I first turned on memberships, I promoted it in a way that got a lot of people excited to jump in. And in my first New Year's Eve live stream, very young kids did. I got a couple of memberships that were deleted right after, as in their YouTube channels got deleted. I'm guessing what happened was a parent saw that a purchase came out of their account and the kid got in big trouble. And there was a young kid that told me up front that they begged their parents for a membership to join the members only segment. Because of that, I felt like the problem. Before you do anything, talk to your parents. Let them choose what they spend their money on for you, because you don't understand what it's like to be tight on money. In my opinion, I consider kids in this age group that are spending money on video games is a waste of money because they generally do not understand the value of money. Now for the ages 11 to 15. These are the ages where, in a way, kids start to have their own money. Even if you're already given money as little kids, it's usually a small amount. What I tell my sisters who are these ages is, if you can't replace your money as easy as you use it, don't spend it. I think this is the age where kids really start having the mindset of wanting to spend their money, where they need to start practicing to save their money, especially ages 14 and 15, because you're about to get your driver's license and you need a car or to afford trains and buses to take you to work when you're 16 and 17. Also at these ages, you should start to understand the value of money, that you work to get it. Some parents like to give their kids an allowance, or like mine did at this age, they were given a commission to do special work around the house. In other words, an allowance, parents just give you money. A commission is for when you work special chores, then you're given money from your parents. So I would say it's fine for kids at this age to spend money on fun things or video games. At this age, they really need to start to learn what's really worth the money. I would say if they spend more than 50% of their income, on just video games, then it's a waste of money. If you don't have an income for longer than 2 months, then spending money on video games I would consider a waste. Next are ages 16 to 18. Saving money is now a must. At this time, you should now have a job to have your own income, and you can do whatever you want with it. You have an income and not as much to any bills to take care of. But you most likely don't have as much time due to school being more important and your job. At least, depends on summer. At this age, you also have more personal responsibility for your own well-being, your time, and how you spend your money. Let's say you make $1,000 a month. If you use 10% of it on pleasure, that's $100. To me, that sounds pretty good money. I believe that you would agree with me when I say that's too much if used on just video games, but you're probably also spending it on your Spotify and Netflix subscription. Now let's talk about spending money in video games in general is a waste of money. In this case, if it brings good enjoyment to you and your friends, then I would say no. It is worth it. It is not a waste of money at this stage. Now, I say good as in not something that would lead to gambling problem or inappropriateness, because both can lead to bad habits of spending and addiction. I say this from things that I've heard and witnessed one of them. So have fun, but be careful. So spending money on video games at this age isn't a waste of money because you've already been giving the devs your time, and so why not support them on something that they spent their time on? Finally, ages 19 on up is the age where you really pay a lot of taxes, start having bills, and deciding what your priorities in life are. And how the economy is basically everywhere, unless you're very established financially, I think would definitely be a waste of money to spend even up to $50 on a good month on video games. Though there's so many subscriptions nowadays that you might not even have enough for video games. I say this because life needs to be the priority, your material needs, in-person friends, and in this stage, you need to let and make life get in the way of video games instead of letting video games getting in the way of life. It's kind of funny that I'm saying all this considering what I'm doing. Actually, 7 to 8 years ago in a family meeting, my dad made a comment to his kids, I think mainly to my brothers, that if we were to spend so much time on video games, that we might as well find a way to monetize it. I'm not sure back then they would have thought it would be me. I started when I was 16 years old. Now I'm 22, and I'm seeing that you can't just live fully online. Yes, being online can be fulfilling, but not fully. If you think about it, it's actually a sad life if you just only do all of your socializing online and just all the fun in general. I've heard someone say that it's actually cheaper to do everything online. In other words, your social life, your friends, because then you don't have to worry about planning to go do things with your friends that will usually cost you. So you are actually saving money even if you do spending here and there on video games. And in ways, I do agree, but at the same time, it came from a person who isn't happy with their social life. Because I tell you, having a pure online social life, if that's where all of your friends are, it takes away from the importance of the physical, of literally seeing eye to eye. Even though you don't see my eye, you will stick to see digital. No, stop asking for a face reveal. The answer is no. Being in this community for about 6 years now, it's been pretty cool to hear of people growing up. They would play video games throughout their teenage years, then they would get to be 17 or 18 years old, putting their priorities over to what they want to do in their life. Video games then would just turn into an evening thing or a once-in-a-while hobby. It's just part of growing up. It's part of life, especially a responsible life. To sum it all up, it just depends on what stage of life you're in, on whether it's a waste of money to spend on video games. Not just your money, but also your time, because you can always replace your money with your income, but you cannot replace your time. So be wise with your time, especially in your prime time of setting up your life. Be careful about spending too much time on video games. So, if done wisely in your own time and income, no. Spending money in video games isn't a waste of money. Unless you're an 8-year-old. That age group, yeah. Yeah, don't spend money on video games. You don't understand the value of money. I wonder how many members and donators I'm going to lose after saying all of that. As I'm saying that, you are seeing all the people who are ruthless members. Kind of ironic, right? But I really appreciate every one of them. They help me keep going and to just keep creating videos and live streaming and all of that. Like this video over here, that you should definitely check it out. Or, okay, if you don't want that one, you could do this one. Yeah, I think you'll like it.